Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good morning. It depends on where are you in this globe. I'd like to welcome you all to this great inception of the activities of 2022 V20 group. I'd like to start this inception by thanking the V20 2022 organizers and their extraordinary teams for first accepting this challenge and then proceeding with it with such elegance and excellence and productivity, where we tested our values day and day throughout the process. The thinking behind the V20 is not something that every single one in this group is a strong believer of, which is values as foundation of growth, values at the center of transformation. In 2020 and during the pandemic, Saudi Arabia was chairing the G20 activities. And it was during that time where I was heavily involved in the values arena in creating a great national transformation. And by being lucky in working at a very good example of a values-based foundation. By creating that impact in many industries, whether it's private sector, non-for-profit sector, or even government sector, we realized that this whole movement is widely accepted throughout institutions around the globe. This movement of creating transformation based on values, policies and change based on common good, based on creating win-win situations for the environment, for the beneficiaries, whomever they are, customers, and for the business owners, legislators, and so on. So by observing this and actually being part of it and initiating some of the great initiatives of it, we thought about why not introducing this tone and movement and perception and framework to the G20 body as the body that holds the thinking of the 20 most great economy in the world. So we tested this idea and we were lucky. We were lucky to find a global network of very strong believers and recipients. It is without them that we couldn't achieve what we have achieved. It was 2 years, almost 2 years exactly here, where me and my friend Manuel thought about the possibility, and look at the reality right now, sitting together in an inception attended by more than 60 people. It's only inception number 1. There is another one, believing in that matter and actually dedicating time. So the seed was planted in 2020 in Saudi. It was strengthened in 2021 in Italy, and it is blossoming now in 2022 in Indonesia. And we hope that many cycle of blossom and prosperity and growth is going to happen. To us, in this metaphor, you, the delegates, the participants, the supporters, are the soil who hold this seed from the beginning. The soil that cater it with the right information, the right dedication, and the right activities for it to blossom. Without having the right soil, that seed would never see the sunlight. And we are very lucky and thankful for all the efforts, the hard work, the conflict sometimes that we witnessed throughout the past 2 years that led us to that amazing result. And we are even aiming higher and demanding more, because what we have witnessed in every sector, in every department, in every publication that we did as experts in that field, we want to see it with a bigger impact on a global scale. And I'd like also to thank all the efforts from the Italian team, because it is the make it or break it movement when they also accepted the challenge and proceed with it excellently during a very tough time in their for them nationally and globally. Please accept my deep gratitude for all of you, and we all hope for a great cycle of V20 this year altogether. Please, Dr. Ghazi, I welcome you to elaborate on what we have witnessed in Saudi and our aspiration in the future. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and peace and light to all. I'm delighted and honored and happy to be here today. And if I may add a word to the beautiful words that Dimah added, as to the philosophy and passion that brings us together from Inception in Saudi Arabia onto Italy, and now in Inception in Indonesia. Let me ask the question, why the V20 is important and timely. I can think of at least 4 reasons. First, the history of the G20 itself. Second, human nature and the history of the world. And 3, success of the field of values as a discipline. And 4th, the need to model a better way for humanity. In terms of the history of the G20, we all know it started as a humble effort to align certain countries in the world to deal with a financial crisis in the hopes that in that informal alignment, we would do better in terms of impact, quickly realizing that we needed to include more countries, and then in time realizing that finances alone won't solve our problems. So we had to widen the scope of our discussion to include economics, and then in time realizing the importance of social sciences, thus the birth of the V20. In terms of human nature, we're all familiar, and there's so many different conceptions of what it is and what it's about, moving from the agricultural era to the industrial era and beyond. And rightfully, we talk today, what would it look like in a postmodern world in which we return back to values and assert them as the primary driver of who we are and how we would like to make things happen? In terms of the success of the field of values, we all know that at the personal level and the organizational level, the discipline slowly proved itself over decades, and today we talk about expanding the field to include communities, nations and national development, and indeed global alignment via multilateral organizations and institutions to create a better world for tomorrow. In terms of the need of modeling a better way, this is not about generating content that is better alone, but also the process through which we generate our content and the involvement of stakeholders so that humanity becomes at the center of policy making. A short word about what the V20 is not about. It is not about imposing a set of values on others. Rather, it's a long-term negotiated process of what is universal to us that should be part of declarations that go through entities such as the United Nations, and what is unique and rightfully should be at the core of expressing the identity of each nation. This is not a luxury. It's at the heart of pragmatism. This is not the voice of the elite imposing their will over the ordinary. This is the voice of the ordinary coming to the elite of decision-making so that they are considered when we formulate policy. And last and not least, this is not the voice of the past rooted in traditions. This is the voice of the past, the present, and the future. This is the voice of eternity as we express our humanity to the fullest. This is what brought us together in the V20, and this is the journey that you are about to embark, taking our hopes and aspirations forward. We are so honored and delighted that Indonesia is leading this year, and we look forward to the continuity of the journey this year and onward. Thank you very much.
It's such an honor to contribute to this Inception event. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Stefano Petti, and I'm one of the founding members of the V20. And in 2021, I had the privilege to co-chair V20 under the Italian presidency of the G20. It's amazing to see how V20 has been evolving in only 3 years since its setup in 2020. A group of people passionate about values and firmly holding the belief that values can play a pivotal role in dealing with some of the most pressing challenges that we are facing as humanity. We all know the unprecedented situations that our world has been facing since COVID appeared in our lives. During the last 2 years, however, we proved how resilient we can be, and there have been many situations where us as human beings demonstrated the ability to come together around shared values. Now, the dramatic consequences of the war in Ukraine are shaking us even more, at a time when we're still dealing with COVID, as well as other urgent global issues, such as climate change, that in no way should be left behind if we want to have a world to leave to our future generations. They say that history goes in cycles. The wars, epidemics, and other calamities are just part of human nature. It may be true, but I don't believe that only because something already happened in the past, it should happen again in the future. We, as V20, can play an important role in raising the collective consciousness around other trajectories that are possible, paths that are built on values that create the opportunity for a better and more sustainable world. You, as the community of delegates, are the engine of the V20. Your work and dedication is what empowers us to continue in our endeavor to influence the group of 20 with evidence-based, human-centered, and values-driven policy solutions that we believe will contribute to overcoming such global challenges. I thank Yuri, Mikey, and the Indonesian organizers for the excellent work they are doing and for inviting me to share this short speech. I wish you all the best, and thanks in advance for your dedication and valuable contributions. And with this, I leave the word to Marisa, with whom I share the V20 journey as co-chair in 2021. Thank you.
My name is Marisa Faccio, and like Stefano, I'm one of the founding members of the V20, and last year I had the honor to co-chair it with Stefano. The G20 is a traveling event that every year moves to a different nation. In 2020, it was in Saudi Arabia, last year in Italy, this year in Indonesia, then it will move to India and next to Brazil. Considering this, it was very important for us as chairs of the V20 in Italy from the beginning to think that in addition to passing the baton to Indonesia, together with the experience and the great expertise of you, this amazing and incredible V20 community of delegates, to also think at the same time about the V20 legacy that could allow us in Italy to continue the work started thanks to its passage and influence. So we started to look for a way in which we could create further opportunities within the Italian ecosystems we had touched last year to keep reflecting on the fundamental importance of values to inspire us to be better people, but to also give voice to people's aspiration for a better country, facilitating a responsible and conscious entry into action. As a result, the first program that we launched last year in Italy was the ESG, the Entrepreneurship Sports Generation. This is a great international program to select and promote new startups through a competitive mechanism, similar to a large tournament made entirely online in Italy, but in person in other countries such as India, for example, the country from which this project started, thanks to its creator, Mr. Sherpa, and its fantastic team. Among the characteristics for startups to be selected for this competition, there is the entrepreneur's awareness of the impact that their new ventures have from the point of view of sustainability. It is really important when we build startups that we do it with a focus on the 17 global goals. I've decided to share this program with you today as a way to express my immense gratitude to you all for the amazing work that you do. The program that I've just illustrated was and is inspired by your passion, dedication, and generosity. This year, there are new delegates who will further enrich our community. And under the wise guidance of Mikey and Yuri, whom I particularly thank you for this kind invitation, I'm sure that with you all, V20 will once again play an important role at the G20 level and not only. Thank you.